He's the voiceover studio engineer of the Stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in LA, here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam. He's the voiceover studio.
Hello, Dan.
I'm George Whittam and the West.
Batting number
In the
7.
stadium.
Together we're East West Audio Body Shop.
And we are. Oh, somebody else has joined us.
How's that? Do I need more light?
It's Steve.
How's that?
That works.
Perfect.
This is like a dentist lamp.
Where is he, in his kitchen there? Oh, okay.
This is one of those great IKEA lamps.
Wow.
I think we should do a show and tell. Everybody, like, anybody have something neat to just show off, then just... I'll start with the IKEA Flexi LED light. This is the coolest desk lamp or booth lamp or copy lamp I think I've ever seen.
Ooh.
And they're like $20 or maybe even less. Maybe 15.
This is the most red microphone.
That's the most red microphone pop screen.
Yes.
Wind filter.
Ever.
It doubles as
As a client.
all the way from Zanzibar.
Yes, I have a wind-up flashlight.
Yeah.
All right.
My daughter has one. It looks like a monkey. It's a squeeze. You squeeze it. Hang on. I realized that my camera wasn't turned on when I showed off my toy.
I saw it.
Oh, you did? But was it in the main camera? I don't think it was in the main screen.
Close, yeah.
So this is the IKEA bendy light. It's called the Fnurkelblom.
Okay.
It's the IKEA Fnurkelblom.
Swedish.
It's Swedish
Yeah.
for...
For
It's
bendy
sweet.
light.
It's Swedish for we ran out of names for bendy lights. Oh, those Swedes.
I'm convinced they just get a boggle thing and just shake it so they can come up with a new name.
Yeah. Anybody here Swedish?
No.
No?
No, I think my wife might be, but
I'm wondering if I should be broadcasting everything, including the show. Yeah, I realized I had you guys cropped out of the bottom of the picture on the Ustream.
Oh,
so
really?
now everybody can see you
Let's
guys
go over
too.
to Ustream.
There we go.
And-
Oh, there we are. Look.
Whoa.
Are you watching the Ustream at the same time?
Not yet. No. Should I?
Karen is, right?
I am.
But you have the sound muted, otherwise you'd go berserk, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, see, now I'm getting an echo here.
So are we.
Anybody else?
one step beyond.
How about you, Anthony? Are you getting an
That's what it
echo
sounds like.
from Ustream?
I don't
no,
have Ustream open.
I'm getting it from here, from Google.
So how about now? Did it go away? Ah. It's this. I just can't figure out how to get the right mix minus going on here.
All right.
What a drag. I'm trying to be able to get the sound go to Ustream from me as well as you guys without having an echo. I'm going to try one more thing.
Okay.
All right. Now, do you
Right,
guys
so-
get echo?
Hello, hello.
I'm not
Yep.
not much. Well, a little bit.
Yeah, you still get
Back
it.
in the
Yes. Okay. Well, let's see. There's Karen. There's Steve. There's Dave. George.
Yeah, that's my dad over there.
Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's in the
That's
basement.
him.
Oh,
What
man.
is he holding up?
Hi there. What do you got there?
They're pantomiming
No
tonight.
audio.
No audio.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're just staring at us.
We have audio, but I'm trying to avoid contributing.
Oh, okay. Thanks for avoiding contributing, Steve. That's my brother Steve, just off camera. Like, there he is. My brother Steve.
He's the one holding up stuff.
And my dad. That's my parents' basement workshop. It's pretty awesome.
So where's the laser beam and the what else we got down there?
Show us around, Dad.
Nuclear reactor and yeah.
All right. Mr. Whittem, are you a ham radio operator guy too?
I am a ham radio operator, yes.
Very good.
We're getting the echo again, George.
I'll turn off the mic now.
It's only on your end, guys. It's only you guys in the Hangout that hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, I just got off the air with a guy from Guatemala and another guy from England who is using the special call that was issued in England for the Olympics.
Oh, very
I'm
good.
with you, Dan.
Oh.
Special.
Kind of neat.
Yeah.
How special.
Cool. Well, KC8 FMS right here.
Hey, very good. What was it again?
KC8 FMS. Kilo Charlie 8
Okay,
Foxtrot
cool.
Mike Sierra. Sorry.
QSL.
All right. Sorry, VO guys. We'll keep the ham
Show's been
radio
hijacked.
Yeah.
73, guys. 73.
Hey,
73.
that's cool, George, that you know that.
73.
88.
Okay.
Tell them what 88 means.
88 means you're wearing glasses? I don't know.
Loves and kisses.
Oh, okay. I think 69s would be more appropriate. Yeah, where was I? Anywho, this is so crazy how this is set up not the way at all expected to be. Okay. Well, what do you guys want to talk about? We're doing the show. Some people are supposedly watching.
I actually have a EWABS related question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so a question about microphone care.
I don't care.
We use our microphones all the time, but they also come with these cool. Nice, very cool, Dan. They also come with these nice cases. Should I be putting my microphone away at the end of the day, or can I just leave it mounted and whatnot? Or I mean, the humidity in my room, the ambient temperature, is any of that?
Take it down.
I'll take this one. All right. Let's see here. I can hear what you guys are saying. All right. As we go into my studio here.
Anybody not using headphones is going to cause us a total horrible echo nightmare.
Dan, I just. Oh no, who is that?
I'm here.
Else. No, you're here. Somebody else.
Somebody else created a huge echo.
It might be me, you guys.
Jeez.
No, it's like a huge flesh-colored Nancy.
What's your camera pointing at, Nancy?
Yeah, Nancy refuses to be seen tonight.
It's Sunday night, gentlemen.
You put too much Vaseline on the lens, Nancy.
Yeah,
That's right. I like a soft, fuzzy shot here.
It's a picture of something soft and fuzzy. I'm not sure what it is. And we also have Kevin Schuler in the room.
Hi, Kevin.
Oh, but we lost Karen.
But am I creating echo because I don't have headphones?
Possibly, yeah. Do you have a telephone? Do you have any kind of headphones?
Earbuds or something?
Of course. Just plug them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just using my laptop right now.
Yeah, just plug them in your laptop.
Okay, cool. I'll go get them.
Karen's back.
Karen's back. All right, what were we showing off now? What was that, Dad?
My computer froze.
So Dan was going to talk about microphone care.
Microphone care.
That was it.
Yeah.
Ramsey, TFM for
What is that pink square?
Jeez.
That's
The other.
All right, for now, I'm just keeping the sound muted from the Ustream show because it's just an echoey mess right now.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Muchas gracias. There's going to be a little echo for you, the folks in the chat, in the actual Hangout. You will have a little echo due to some limitations of my setup tonight.
Well, what are you going to do?
But it won't be that heard that way on Ustream.
What was that?
Oh,
We will take over your planet.
That's that thing. What is that thing, Steve?
I think it's a show about setting up
That's
Google
the Mystic
Hangouts.
Pyramid.
Every Hangout is a show about setting up Google Hangouts, except for when I mean every Hangout show is a show about setting up Hangouts that I've ever seen.
Right.
Except when President Obama was on, and when President Obama's Hangout was on, because I saw that a couple times, it looks like HD broadcast television. I mean, it is absolutely flawless.
Clearly.
I think Google actually bring a crew into the White House and they
Uh-oh.
totally do
I
the
think
whole
I've lost
thing.
audio.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
You're about to draw a lucky hand.
Who did the voiceover for that toy? That's some trivia.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I don't know. There's a very pretty icon on the screen, but I don't know who that actually is. That's Karen Gersman.
Karen Gersman. Hello, Karen Gersman. Turn your microphone on if you're going to hang out with us.
It's cool though. I mean, I don't mind. I know this is new technology, and our show isn't necessarily about the technology of this stuff, but I don't know. I think it's relevant because as Google Hangouts gets better, I think the world's going to shift over to using it more and more.
Yep.
But also, another thing to think about, if the audio quality in Google Plus Hangouts Studio Mode, which I'm using right now, is really, really good, imagine it could become a new way to do sessions.
Yep.
I mean, it could take over Skype. It could take over even Source Connect.
It probably
That would be exciting.
It would.
Well, I mean, I can't wait to hear it play back. I've watched a few Hangouts that were recorded in the new studio mode. And what they do is they have a band playing like live in like this little, like a house. And then they'll switch the audio from standard Google Hangouts, which isn't bad. It sounds kind of like AM radio. Oh, somebody's, whoever is trying to get their thing together, just mute their mic if they know how to do it. I should be able to mute everybody else, but there doesn't seem to be a way to do that.
Looks like it's Nancy's.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Hang on.
Okay. Well, there's two Nancys.
Okay.
Because you can see under their picture at the bottom, if there's audio, it turns
Oh yeah,
green.
it shows a little green bar there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, this software is amazing. They keep adding in new features like that kind of stuff. It blows me away. I don't know. Whatever.
Dan, answer.
Oh,
Dan, the
yeah,
answer
Anthony's
is, I
got
gotta
his
know.
question that hasn't been answered
Should I
yet.
put this away tonight?
Okay. Yeah. No. The answer to the question is that you don't really have. I guess if you're a broadcast engineer, you can put it in a Royal Crown bag. That's the way they tell you to do it. But if it's hanging upside down and you're in a fairly dust-free atmosphere, you really don't have to worry about that. Every time you set up your mic or take it down, you're changing a variable. And so you want to make sure you're... What is somebody...
What is going on?
It's Nancy Halpin.
Oh, okay. Could we stop mentioning the name?
I say we just mute her.
I can't mute it from this end.
I'm trying, you guys.
No, I know. It's just when you type the microphone
Sounds like a
in,
war over there.
the sound in your.
I can mute her though.
Try.
How do you mute just her?
How do I do that? I just went over.
Oh,
to
there
her
it is.
picture.
Oh, it's just a little. Yeah, sorry, Nancy.
Jen muted her. Sorry, Nancy.
No offense. I mean, obviously, there's a learning curve to all this stuff, so we're not trying to insult anybody. The problem is that when you're using a laptop, or you're not using a proper studio setup to
Okay, we're gonna go
broadcast,
for a walk.
Okay.
you can't hear yourself. So you have no idea what kind of ruckus you're causing on the other end because you can't monitor yourself. And that's what's very different about real broadcasting or, broadcasting and voiceover. You know, in voiceover, we just want to be heard. We don't care what we sound like. Well, we do care what we sound like, but we don't want to hear ourselves while we're recording because it's too distracting, right?
Exactly.
Isn't that why a lot of the coaches say no headphones during, while you're actually recording voiceover?
Yeah, pretty much.
But in broadcast...
Oh, it's very distracting.
In broadcast, if you can't turn off, if you can't monitor yourself during a live show, you have no idea what kind of a nightmare you're dealing with. So...
Yeah, so that's something that has to be developed with this. So,
well, it's
above my name here.
It's just practice, I mean, it's we're basically plunging everybody into the world. How did I just do that? Hang on a second. Crap. my keyboard I think F11 key on my keyboard just got pressed and everything on my screen went away off the screen.
The F and 11 key.
The F and 11 key, exactly. I just bumped the F and 11 key. No, it's like this is the grand experiment using Google Hangouts, and just instead of we could be like, okay, everybody, and do a whole show on Google Hangouts, and these are all the things you need to know to make Google Hangouts work, and these are all we're just saying, join us on Google Hangouts and good luck, and it's a big experiment, but it also just lets people learn on the fly, and it's healthy, it's good for your brain. That's my theory.
Thank you, Dan. That's awesome.
Thank you. You're quite welcome.
I hold out a lot of hope for this for professional development for voiceovers. So, like, a lot of folks participate in Skype workout groups and things like that. I think the beauty of being able to do this with a little bit of video and being able to share a document, like say from Google Docs.
Yeah.
I think it's got huge potential for professional development at a minimum. But I think you're right. I mean, look where video has come, George. I mean, we've got HD video. I see no reason why we're not heading in the direction of HD audio.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, think about how this could revolutionize a voiceover session. So your talent would be the only difficulty right now I can see is that this talent has to be the one that starts the Hangout, because they have to be broadcasting in studio mode as opposed to voice mode. In voice mode, it's just, a lower quality audio. It sounds more like AM radio. But in studio mode, I don't know what it is, but it's high fidelity, whatever it is. So the talent would start the Hangout in studio mode. Then let's say you could have the director or whoever it is that wrote the script or whoever's in charge of the script in another window, right? And then they could share the Google Doc. So now their Google Doc will just show up on the screen. Boom, there's the script. Now, the other thing about Google Doc is they could change the script on the fly. So if there's a rewrite or something's wrong, instead of the talent having to go up and scribble out the word or erase or whatever they, stylus, whatever they have to do.
They could just change it while you're there.
They just change it while you're there. You watch the script change and in front of your eyes. So I think this has huge potential,
Well, then it's up to us to develop it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's there's a blog called Some Audio Guy, and he mentioned the idea of using Hangouts for recording today, and that's what gave me some thought about that. Was it called Ramblings of Some Audio Guy or something?
Yeah,
that sounds familiar.
Who is that guy?
It's a great idea.
Juan Carlos Bagnell.
Right. That's his name. So, we didn't come into the show with any topics. I figured, anybody else have any show and tell?
I'm realizing how lame my studio really is. I've got like Jack in here, dude.
No, just the cat. Oh, actually, yeah, you can see my booth.
Sure, show.
Okay, we're gonna go for another walk.
Sweet.
My booth is right there.
There we go. And open.
Open Sesame Street.
It's a pocket door.
Oh, cool.
So I have a steak copy stand with my little tissues and things down here. Yeah, it's a closet actually that we converted into a booth. We put some Oralex 1-inch with some 1-inch Oralex recycled cotton foam in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, recycled cotton foam.
Yeah, it actually
is that a
works
new
pretty well.
product? Is the recycled cotton a new thing?
Actually, no, it's been in there for a couple of years. Yeah, it's 1 inch thick. And I'm hearing myself back in my headphones, so I'm screwing with my brain.
I know. I know. Sorry, guys. I wish.
But no, I bought it online about 2 years ago and installed it myself, and it works pretty well.
Awesome.
Cool. All right.
And I wanted to use the recycled cotton because I'm a great big hippie, and I like recycled stuff. So.
Well, it's probably a heck of a lot better on your lungs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at this stuff right now.
Yes, I had seen your post about how the regular Oralex foam off gases, and that can really be detrimental to your health.
Charming.
Yeah, I would like to eventually move to making sure anything I install in anybody's studio is.
And I really have to watch that because I myself am asthmatic, so I really have to be gentle.
Totally. That's so important. The thing is, people forget is like the studio is the worst possible place to put a bunch of stinky, petroleum product, because usually it's pretty airtight, that room is, so it doesn't ever escape.
That's why my mouse won't work. It's not plugged in.
And you're breathing heavily because you're reading copy. So it's a double threat, it's a double whammy.
Does anybody have
me?
Dan,
yes.
Someone in the Ustream chat room is asking if that's a Neumann in your mic. I mean, a Neumann in your mic. It's a Neumann in your booth.
Yes, it is. It's a Neumann TLM 103.
Da da da. TLM 103.
TL 103.
TLM 103 became really popular in LA.
No, actually, it's a Yeti.
Yeah, right.
Right now, what I've got hanging in there is a Yeti.
Oh, they're asking. Nancy has a Yeti.
Oh, okay.
No, Karen. Gosh, I got my names mixed up. Karen has a Yeti in her booth. Dan has a TLM 103 in his booth.
Right. You were saying nasty things about a Yeti this morning.
Yeah. Well, I have a client. We're trying to get good audio out of a Yeti, and it's not that the Yeti has a technically bad sound, but on certain voices, it's extremely sibilant.
Yeah.
It gets very smeary, and it's hard to describe it, but nothing I could do with this particular person could I get clean audio out of his Yeti Pro.
Yes.
So we decided that it was time to move on, and because the problem is the Yeti from a technical standpoint, this is like the difference between a mic that's really good sounding versus the mic that's really good on paper. The Yeti is really good on paper. It's got really low noise. It's THX certified, which I don't know how that works since THX is for theaters and not for recording, but it's got a lot of good specs. But the microphone capsules inside it are these teeny little tiny mic capsules. They're like eighth of an inch across.
Little electric.
Yeah, the little electric condenser microphone capsules, real tiny. And there's like 3 or 4 of them in there. I think there might be 3. I'm not sure. There's enough in there that you can have the thing do stereo as well as figure 8 and cardioid, which is very clever. And
Omni.
And Omni. And if you're a musician or a band and you want to buy one mic, it's definitely the way to go. But if you want a mic that's designed specifically for picking up voice, it's not the best mic for it because of that design. And I've been really directing a lot of people towards like the Shure PG42 for USB mics.
I haven't heard that one yet. Kevin, you're using a Yeti Pro?
Yeah. No, it's just a Yeti. USB.
Yeti.
The Pro came out after I bought this.
I think I could be wrong, but I think the Pro is exactly the same microphone, just with the addition of a different AD converter, which can do a higher bit rates. and then it has an XLR jack to plug it into a studio's preamp or, you know, something like that. I think otherwise, technically, it's identical. I think the mics, the elements
It's
are the
always
same.
on top of your game there.
So George and Dan, given these USB mics and the Yeti and the great quality, what's your recommendation these days for a good portable rig?
My recommendation is why are you so obsessed with being on the road and being portable?
He loves Apogee mic.
And I want to visit the Upper Peninsula quite a bit, actually.
Oh, the Uber.
My goal is to spend about a weekend, a month up there.
There it is.
Eventually move up there.
There it is.
Yes. Well, this is working for me. This is the Apogee mic, and it's what I'm actually talking to you on right this minute. And as you hear, it sounds fine. It's kind of disconcerting to hear my voice half a second after I talk.
It's that bad, isn't it?
It's that bad.
All right. I wish I could. It's like I either have to cut the audio out of the Ustream feed, or how many people are watching Ustream actually?
Quite a few, actually.
I had to turn it off.
Well, you can't. There's one thing you cannot do is watch Ustream while you're actually in the Hangout. You'll hear things 3 times. So you wouldn't like that. But it looks like there's a good number of people watching on the Ustream. So I'm going to make you guys suffer through it for this time. You guys are pioneers, so pat yourselves on the back. Because we've done Hangouts before, but I haven't tried to rebroadcast a Hangout in Ustream simultaneously. And my little CPU meter that I always have on my screen is completely pegged. Like, you know, my computer right now is running its full maximum output. And it's getting warm. Yeah, it's definitely getting warm. I can feel that.
Yeah, you know, I was mentioning on Google.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You know, I was rendering my the audio or the video from my webinar on Tuesday night, and it was pegged at like 359% on my Mac Mini, and it was like blowing hot air out the back of it.
Yeah, like a hairdryer.
Whoa, what is going on? But I must say, it was at least protecting itself a lot.
Well, it's amazing. These things, the beauty of the design is that they are extremely quiet when they can be. And when they have to work, you know, basically with the pedal to the metal is what you're doing when you're video encoding, then they do what they have to do to cool themselves. And if you have an older MacBook Pro, like I have a client with a MacBook Pro that he gave to me to see if we could fix it, all it had to be done was to have it cleaned out. I took it to a shop like Mac Mall. There's a Mac Mall shop here, and $90. They did diagnostics and a cleaning, and it runs like a normal. It runs the way it used to run because there's no more coating of dust on the interior of the computer anymore. As somebody wrote on chat room somewhere or a blog, I can't remember. It's like when you don't clean your machine once in a while. It's like having a wool coat wrapped around everything in the computer. All the heat sinks, everything that's radiating heat has a layer of insulation on it.
Imagine if that person is a smoker too.
Yeah, even worse. Absolutely, yeah, even worse. So it's a good idea. If you can't do it once every few weeks or once a month, then just do it once a year at least and clean your machine. That's one thing that Apple seems to neglect, the idea that you actually computer gets dirty. Like this new computer tower I have, every fan has a filter screen. And you can pull that screen out and clean it and put it back. And I don't even have wall-to-wall carpet in my house, and it's amazing. Well, it's probably part of the reason, actually, because your carpet traps a lot of that stuff. But in my house, it's just hardwood floor. But the fans in my computer suck up an incredible amount of scum and dust. And
it looked like you had a cooler on that thing. It was for a Ferrari or something.
Yeah, that's the new that heat sink that you guys saw.
Does that also work on your laptop, or is that just for the?
I'm sorry, the cleaning?
The desk model.
No,
and a PC.
The box she's talking about.
Oh, the box. This is a desktop computer case that's designed specifically to be quiet. And the
cleaning.
Oh, the cleaning. Oh, the cleaning is true for any computer at all. But the problem with the problem with laptops is the problem with laptops, iMacs, anything where you can't get into them, You know, there's no user serviceable entrance into the computer. You can't get in there to clean them. With an iMac, you can take a vacuum cleaner, and there's a little vent right behind the stand.
The top, yeah.
There's a hole in the middle, right behind the stand, like a half an inch or an inch and a half big. You can suck that out. There's a vent along the very, very top. You can take a vacuum cleaner and suck that out. And at the very, very bottom, there's an open screen vent. That's where the speakers are, and you can suck that out. Laptops, like the MacBook Pro anyway, there's a vent all along the back where the hinge is. And then any laptop at all, anywhere you see an opening, take a nice strong vacuum cleaner and just suck the dirt out of the opening. If you see a slot for a CD drive, suck it out there. If there's an opening where there might be a fan, if you put your hand and you feel air on your hand, suck it with a vacuum cleaner. You'd be amazed. You might actually make a big difference. So,
although computer geeks at the computer stores would say that a vacuum can be dangerous because of static electricity.
True, that is true.
That's why they sell you the compressed air.
Yeah, pay no attention to the geeks in the stores.
Well, the compressed air.
Save the money, right?
The compressed air works okay, but it's incredibly messy, and it just blows it into your atmosphere and into your room. And I recommend carrying it outside before you do that for sure, because it's pretty horrible.
I'll just use the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, the compressed air is not the greatest. I mean, yeah, static is always an issue. I'm one of the fools that will do a computer teardown and rebuild like on mine, and not actually use one of those anti-static wristband thingies and live to tell the tale. But it's generally not a great idea, especially if you have wall-to-wall carpet that builds up static. But one way to avoid shocking yourself or your computer and zapping the memory or anything is to just grab a faucet or anything in your house that's grounded. A water pipe or anything hooked to a water pipe is grounded.
Yeah, like a light.
Yeah. It literally goes into earth ground, any pipe in your house. So if you grab that, it discharges it. Now, I actually have a grounding mat. Now, this gets into the more esoteric stuff here. Airy-fairy, holistic stuff. This is what they call an earthing mat, and it's a mouse pad. And it has a wire hooked to it. You see this wire?
It's got the ground right there.
And this wire runs to my power strip and plugs into the ground pin on the power strip. So this thing is actually underneath my wrist where my mouse is at all times. I don't use it as the mouse pad because I don't like it as a mouse pad. It's kind of sticky. But my wrist is resting on this grounding pad. So all the time I'm at my computer, I'm grounded to earth ground. My body is grounded to earth ground. And there's theory that, it improves your health. But you know what? There's no harm in trying it. So I figured, what the heck? And one of my friends swears by it. So I'm using it. And
much better for you.
Yeah, I'm grounded all the time when I'm at my computer.
Okay.
So there you go. So any other... in regards to... I know Anthony's question about the mic thing, we got so interrupted by me and other people, but how many of you guys put your mics away? I don't.
Do.
Yeah. Every night?
Yep.
I think a lot of it has to do with how clean...
I close the closet door.
Yeah. I think
I have to set up my setup every time I record. So I do put everything away.
Oh, that's Karen Grossman.
Yes.
Hey, Karen.
I recognize that voice anyway.
No camera tonight, sorry.
Oh, come on.
Bad hair day.
No, I've been swimming all day and I'm in my nightgown.
Oh, yes.
Me too.
The theme of the show would change very quickly.
Indeed. It's not that kind of show.
No, yeah. If you put your gear away, obviously that takes care of the problem. I am interminably lazy, so I don't put things away like that. But it's probably not a bad idea to do that. If your room is really clean, or if your closet is a little booth and you shut the door on it every day, that's probably pretty good because it's keeping a lot of the particulates.
Interesting to note, though.
Yeah.
When I close the door on my booth, because it's fairly tight, you can see that it's creating a lot of compression in the room.
Uh-huh.
And God only knows what that's doing to the diaphragm and a microphone.
Yeah.
So, I don't particularly worry about dust. I mean, if you've ever been in my basement, which is none of you, there was an awful lot of dust down there, and my mic still sounds fine. So
yeah.
I'm not a clean freak, so I really don't care. I've had that TLM 103 for 8 years now. I haven't cleaned it.
I will say, do not use any kind of high pressure air or anything on a microphone. Never use it on a microphone.
Cleaned. I mean, you'd have to take the screen off and everything and blow it from the inside and not really touch the diaphragm.
Yeah.
But the diaphragm itself should be fairly dirt-free.
Yeah. If you look through the screen of the mic and you see particulates in the screen, then you know it's definitely time probably to clean it. Yeah, Anthony.
Right.
Okay, so a related question. Okay, so say these are out and about and we never put them away. Is there a recommended time frame or cycle for? I mean, how do you clean the inside of this? I mean, do you send it away to the factory and say refurb this for me, or what do you do?
Technically, yeah.
Okay. Well, what's the time frame for that? Like every 2 or 3 years, or 5 years, or?
How often are you using it, Tony? I mean, is it like
every day?
You use it every day, obviously. Are you a heavy smoker?
No.
Okay. Now, if you take a look at your, let me show you something here.
And this isn't my main mic, by the way. The main mic is in there. It's a Harlan Hogan mic.
Okay. I'm going to go show you an example.
Yeah, it's
Because I'd rather take good care of it than have to buy a new one.
Of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, of course.
See,
The Crown Royal bag sounded good.
Yeah.
By the way, welcome Jerry Reed to the Hangout.
Hey, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Hello, Jerry.
All right. I wanted to show you guys something so I can destroy my microphone collection.
While Dan's doing that, let's go across. Let's go left. While Dan's doing that, let's go left to right and say where you are, just for the heck of it. You're okay. Anthony's in Portage, Michigan. I'm in Santa Monica, California. Dan's in Buffalo, New York. Where are you,
Dave
Dave?
Beeson, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Grand Rapids.
Jerry, where are you?
Hello, Dave.
Hey.
Rico Park, New York.
Jerry, where are you from?
Is he muted?
He shouldn't be. Hold on.
I swore.
It's showing is muted.
His mouth is muted.
It just said Dan muted Jerry Reed.
I'm now unmuting Jerry Reed.
Oh.
There you go.
I talked to us, Jerry.
He's talking away and.
No audio.
Oh, Jerry, sorry, man.
We're waiting.
All right. Go ahead, Karen. Where did you say you're hailing from?
Rico Park, New York.
All right.
Pasadena.
You're in Pasadena.
Pasadena!
Yes, let me see the sun.
Kevin, where are you?
West Carrollton, Ohio.
Right on.
Suburban Dayton.
Right on.
Oh, okay.
It still says I muted Jerry, even though I unmuted him. Let's see. I'm going to click on his mic again. Click. It says you muted Jerry Reed. So how do I unmute Jerry Reed?
I don't know. Maybe
it doesn't report the unmute event.
It never shows a line over the mic.
Maybe he's muted on his end.
He might be because his mic is not showing as muted.
Right.
Right. So make sure your mic's up there, Jerry.
Jerry, did you plug your mic in?
I thought we heard Jerry for a minute.
Jerry, wave
We
if
did.
you can hear us.
Yeah, he can hear us.
Okay, good.
Okay.
We heard for a tiny bit.
Just type in the chat room, Jerry.
Yeah, you can type in the little chat. If you click the chat button in the upper left-hand corner under the Google Plus icon, a little window
With the
pops
smiley
out.
face.
Yeah, and you can type in there. Karen is the only one that's typed in there lately.
Okay. Dave, where are you hailing from? You're from
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids. That's right. All right. All right. So here's what I went over and destroyed my microphone collection for. This is an RCA acoustic, and as you can see, it's a little brown. This part here is called the silk. On an old ribbon microphone. And I'm a little far away from my own microphone here. That probably helps a little bit.
That's better.
Okay, thank you. Actually, this is a great microphone. This is actually the same motor that's in an RCA 77DX. Just doesn't have that capsule form to it, and it's got an acoustical labyrinth that you adjust in the back here. But this was obviously used by a smoker, or in a radio station where smoking was encouraged.
Well, if it was used in broadcast 50 years ago, that's sort of redundant. Every studio had smokers.
Yeah. You got a lot of that.
That was normal.
Yeah, but the thing is if you're not a smoker and your house is fairly clean, I wouldn't really worry about the dust too much. If you're obsessive about dust, you can. I don't think there's anything you can do about it. It's like the same thing as noise in a home studio. You can't avoid it.
Ain't that the truth?
So if you're looking, say, at an Epigee mic, you can see that there's a nice. I mean, aside from the grill that's in there, there's also there's a filament behind it, sort of like a silk, only it's metal. And Mike Deming was telling us about this a couple weeks ago.
The hydrophobic.
The hydrophobic filters.
1, 2.
That you want something that's not going to collect moisture. And the thing is how often? I mean, you're using it every day, but how much are you actually talking in it?
Right.
2 minutes at a time, or half an hour at a time, and then it dries up. So I don't obsess about those things. And the mics seem to work fine.
I don't either, to be honest.
You should
Those
be
who
hearing
do
me
could
now.
audition to do an LCD audiobook or something like that.
Yeah, audiobooks will definitely.
I'm sure if you're an audiobook narrator, you will go through mics faster, or your mic probably needs to be cleaned or serviced more often.
Most likely.
Jerry, say hi.
Hello.
Yay!
Hello, Jerry.
Applause.
I'm getting a lot of echo from other people.
Yeah, that's
Aren't we all?
it's par for the course tonight with Google Hangouts. Sorry.
I just restarted Chrome, and that's what took care of it, I guess.
If you want to use an ear cup on one ear to try to make yourself a little less insane, it might help. Is that a PR40 you're speaking into there, Jerry?
Well, it is here. I've got a Rode over on the other side, but PR40 is a little bit easier to do this with.
What do you use the PR40 for normally?
I really don't use it for a lot of things. It's something I've had for a long time, and it's just a holdover from the radio days, I guess.
Yeah, it's the, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Heil, the fellow who invented the talk box. You remember that, what was it, Peter Frampton that used to use?
Yeah.
That guy?
Wawa machine.
Yeah, the Heil talk box. Well, anyway, that guy, he's still around. He's still alive and kicking, and now he makes mics.
Right.
And he makes PR40.
Bob Heil?
Yeah, Bob Heil. He makes the
He made
PR40, the
mics for,
PR30, yeah.
Grateful Dead and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And so he's selling his own mics now, and he makes only dynamics. He's like a dynamic mic purist. And they sound really nice. And actually, one of the biggest audiences for those markets, I guess, is ham. Ham radio operators are buying these things left and right to put in there.
KA2PGM.
There you go.
All right.
My father left the chat room. My dad is one of the hams in the group. Yeah, I guess the ham radio operators want to get the most mellifluous tone they can get through that really narrow band of audio that they're speaking through. So
We're hijacking your podcast again, man.
I love it.
I use a Rode most of the time.
Which one?
This one's an NT1A.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very popular microphone, the NT1A.
It's popular because it's very inexpensive and it's very, very low noise. And
its pattern is pretty tight.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's the only thing you can get out of Australia besides wool.
Dan, you're getting quieter and quieter now. You're very, very quiet.
Yeah.
Why am I getting lower and lower?
I don't know. I can barely hear you.
You can't hear me?
Give a little, crank up the gain dial on your Apogee.
You are.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There we go.
Apogee?
That's an Apogee mic.
The Apogee mic. Well, that's one problem with the Apogee
That's my
mic is you
next
cannot monitor yourself while using the mic, which again, like we said earlier, you don't need to in a voiceover studio.
I have no attitude about these things.
But
Dan, now that we can hear you, I've actually got a question for you.
Ask away.
I've been watching some back episodes of EWABS, and you've touted alcohol a couple times, but you've never said explicitly like how you use it or what you do with it or how it helps you. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I just happen to have some right here. What I have found with this stuff, and I diluted about, probably about 10 to 1, and I put it in an old chloroseptic bottle, which I've rinsed many, many times, because it also will make your mouth a little numb as you're using this stuff as well. What I have found is that after I eat, is that if I rinse my mouth out pretty good with this, I'll give myself like, let's say, I have a plastic bag over here. I got a garbage
spittoon.
Yeah. What I find it does, it will loosen up all the mucus in your mouth, all the harder stuff, and you don't get as many mouth clamps.
Okay, awesome.
Great. Where do you get that stuff?
You get it at a drugstore.
Just any
drugstore. I walked into a Walgreens around the corner, and I said, "Do you have any alcohol?" And she's, "I absolutely do. It comes in. Let me see if I have the bottle."
Oh, alcohol.
And are you using it
Depends
like
on the market?
Are you using it like habitually,
Yeah.
sort of like every time you turn a page, you take a squirt?
No. It's like before I start, like if I've had lunch at Mighty Taco, or something
Anything
like
with
that.
cheese.
Anything with cheese or spicy, because I figure if it's not spicy, why bother? I lost a lot of my sense of smell once. It's like I gotta have lots of spice. But I find that if I use this at the beginning of a session, if I'm going to do like a chapter of a book or something, this works very, very well for me. And I've tried different dilutions. It seems to work no matter what. I think this is a little under diluted. It could probably use cut to be a little bit more. But
Now,
as
when
you
you're
hear,
doing-
there are no lip smacks.
Excellent. So when you're doing a book or something, how many times do you apply the alcohol? Right.
Usually, if I record a chapter at a time, just before I start a chapter, and I only usually do one chapter at a time. I'm not one of those people that can go through, an incredible long, chapter after chapter after chapter. Because you got to edit yourself. I take my time when I do this stuff. Everybody's obsessed about they want this book and they want it now. They're not paying us enough to do it that fast.
No, they're not.
So it's like, when you guys want to pay me what it's worth to do a book like this, you can have it in a week. Otherwise, it's going to be October because I got other stuff to do.
That
So,
alcohol is
every
also
about 6
super
to
if
10
you have cold
pages.
sinus issues.
Oh, really?
Yep.
When it comes
Yeah,
to, go ahead, finish.
Nasal irrigations, fabulous.
Nasal
Whoa,
what?
dude! You mean you put that through your netty?
Huh?
Did you say?
Can you?
That's what I was just asking.
Oh, this will work in a neti pot too.
Really?
Yeah.
It
you
won't
put that
burn
through
your
netty.
sinuses or anything?
Neti pot. That's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use the Neomet thing, which is more pressure than gravity, which is neti, but same idea.
Okay.
So
wait,
pretty
wait,
much
wait,
just
wait, I wanna make
blows
sure
out
I'm
your
clear about this.
sinuses.
You would probably want to dilute the alcohol.
Oh, of course.
Oh, I do.
All right.
Probably considerably.
10 to 1. Water.
It actually comes with a little adapter thing that you can actually snort it with it.
Oh wow.
I swear to God. I have to find it here.
Be careful how strong it is, or you'll look like somebody in an episode of Jackass. You'll look like Steve-O in Jackass snorting.
Put it up there.
Actually, I think it's.
I'll point out.
Not to correct you too much there, Dan, but I think it's more gravity. You're supposed to tilt your head, and then it'll go through your nose that way.
I like to hook it to the air compressor.
I like snorting it.
I like to hook it to the air compressor and shoot it on through
Too much.
at 110 psi.
Oh my!
Jason is pointing out in the Ustream chat room that it's usually behind the counter in a big bottle at the pharmacy. So you might have to ask for it.
Or you can get it on Amazon.
Amazon. I love Amazon. I am an Amazon.
They'll give you like a monthly delivery of it if you want it. And it's only, what, $7 a month.
I found my
They
bottle.
pay for the shipping.
Sweet.
Oh, here it is.
Oh boy.
I'm a big fan of that Amazon, man. Gosh.
Here's the stuff here.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
With a K.
Yeah.
George, are you going to tell us a scary story?
Yeah. I put on my ghost light, my horror light.
Like Count Floyd on SNL.
And one time,
Oh, there it
in the
is.
forest, there lived a man with
Gotta
one
start
hand
within a world.
in a world.
There you go.
Here's some more show and tell. Okay, hang on a second. This is not something I have laying around all the time, so I wanted to show it to everybody while I had it. You know what this is?
It's a door.
Yeah, it's like
What is that?
the door sweep.
right.
Yeah, they call this an automatic door bottom.
What is it?
So, if you really want to make your door seal tightly, in your home, in your
Right,
studio,
bottom.
this what it does is you see it. There's like a little peg sticking out here. Turn it like this so you can see it better. Okay, so what it does is it screws to the bottom of the door at just the right height. You have to have a good threshold for it to seal against. So you don't want to have it just sitting on carpet. You got to put in like a metal or wood threshold that's smooth so it can press against it. But what happens is when it pushes into the door, let's see if I can activate it against the table here.
Pushes the gasket down.
Yeah, the gasket will pop out. Let's see if I can do this.
There it goes.
Like a guillotine.
Oh, that's cool.
So if any commercial recording studio, they almost all have these. You can buy them for about $80 to $100. And the reason this thing is sitting around is I bought it for a studio whose door was only 28 inches, which is very common in a home studio where you're using a closet. And the problem with this particular model is it wasn't designed to be able to use. It can be trimmed, as you can see. You can actually cut this thing with a hacksaw to the length you want, but you can't cut it past this point right here where the screw is. And this is where we had to cut it.
Ooh.
That line is. So we
Hate
didn't.
when that happens.
Yeah, we didn't end up using it, but luckily the threshold the kit came with had a seal also that sealed really well against the door, and we just made a judgment call and decided it just wasn't necessary for that setup. It was possibly a little overkill, and the client was happy. So, but anyway, you can find these things if you're ever trying to find one. The keyword is automatic door bottom. It's hard to find unless you type in, that, and then you'll be able to find one of these things.
Sounds like a line out of Austin Powers.
Automatic door bottom.
Maybe.
And then I'm working on a studio design for a client, and I walked out of there this is one of those rare opportunities where I'm working with an architect, and this is the roll of plans I was given.
Oh, my.
Oh.
Look at how
Yikes.
thick that thing
Holy
is.
moly.
Apparently, they're not just putting on a studio; they're doing the entire home renovation. So it's like it's the entire project. And the architect says, "Here's your plans." I'm like, "Oh my god, man, kidding me?" And he's like, "Well, you only need to look at this page," and he leafs through like page 17. Here you go. So yeah.
So, do we have any other questions while we have all you guys with us tonight?
I'll keep doing show and tell until someone asks questions.
Dan, that's wrong. Don't do that.
I was at the Mac Mall the other day, John. I wanted to buy an enclosure for a hard drive. You could just take a bare laptop drive and stick it in a little box. You can plug it in with USB.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to buy one. They were $40, right? I looked down and they had a pile of refurbished hard drives. This is a 500 gig.
Oh, right on.
500 gig notebook drive, and it was $59.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
I was like, you got to be kidding me. So for $20 more, I could buy the thing with the drive in it for for a 500 gig drive. Okay, I'll take that instead.
Yep.
Sure.
Unbelievable.
I
Unbelievable.
think that's what I'm going to have to do up here because my pogo plug is not cutting the mustard.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't work quite as well as I had hoped, and it tends to clog up my system. So I think I'll probably just get something like that and just plug it into the back of my Mac.
Sneaker net.
Those little ones are pretty quiet, aren't they?
They're really darn quiet. Yeah, that's the key. If you need a hard drive that's running all the time, it's going to be in your studio. Don't get, those big desktop drives with a power supply. They have a fan in them and all that stuff.
Right.
Get these little guys that are notebook hard drives. They're very, very quiet.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have any. And now that their pricing has dropped down tremendously.
Yeah.
It's, but, these things don't last very long. Like, they won't last years and years, I don't think, of heavy use. So, treat them like... anybody in this room not backing up their data? Anybody? Admit it. Somebody in this room is not backing up their data. Okay.
I have one under the back seat of my car, and one in my camera case, and they travel with me.
Yeah. Well, you got to have a backup that travels with you so you can do backups on the fly, but then you also need an offsite backup. So, these days, cloud storage is so cheap. And I've been using something called crashplan.com for like 2 years now, maybe a year and a half. And I have an entire network backed up on CrashPlan. And I'm talking terabytes worth of stuff. Every movie we have, because we ripped all our DVDs to a hard drive, well, actually to a lot of hard drives, everything is backed up in the cloud. So we live in an area where if a tsunami came, this house would be underwater. Absolutely underwater. I mean, it would be destroyed. So I always thought, well, if I had to leave in an emergency and walk out with my cat, my daughter, my wife, and our go bags, yeah, in that order, ouch. Then, I want to be able to go somewhere else, set up camp again, and go back and get all my data back.
Property.
Yeah, I want all my data back. When I go to my new beachfront home in Arizona, I want all my data back. So that's what I use. And it's $12 a month if you pay month to month, and that's unlimited data. As much as you can pump into the cloud, it'll hold it.
Google sells space pretty cheap. I rent, probably 50 gigabytes for $5 a year or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Google does it really cheap now. I just like the CrashPlan app that runs on all my machines. I just log in, tell it what I want to back up, and it just does it in the background. I never have to worry. But think about it again. It's just totally automatic. So I set it up for Bill Ratner last week. He was like, "This is awesome." He was really happy about it. And then the next layer of backup. So if you've got the cloud backup, but you still want to have a local backup, you can get a NAS or a network attached storage device. But that's going really kind of to a high level that most people aren't going to bother with. It's kind of over the top in cost. But that's basically a dedicated computer or a server that's doing nothing but data backup. And you ever heard of Drobo? Drobo with a D. It's
heard of a Drobo.
So it's just a peripheral for your computer?
It's either a hard drive you plug in with USB Drobo. Or it plugs in with Ethernet.
No.
And it can be on the network too. What's unique about the Drobo is it's like the infinite hard drive, right? So it has 4 slots in the front. You take off the front and there's 4 bays to put a hard drive in. You just slide it in.
Sort of like a red.
Well, I have a MyStora, which is kind of like that.
There's a lot of devices that do this kind of thing. But what's unique about Drobo, so you put, let's say you started off with like 3 500 gig drives, because that's all you can afford. That's all you got. Well, eventually you might get a 2 terabyte drive and you'll put it in the other slot. All of a sudden the thing just immediately says, oh, I got a new hard drive. Let me just sort of add it into the mix. And it just adds it into the hard drive. Like it just ingests the thing in and then it becomes part of the drive automatically. So then let's say you fill this thing up, because I guarantee you will fill up whatever device you have eventually. All you got to do is take the smallest hard drive in there and replace it with a brand new bigger drive. So pull out a 500, stick in a 3 terabyte. And it just says, oh, cool, more storage, and adds it to the storage automatically. and you can do this infinitum. And
Get your cam on there, Jan.
And you can also, I think that's Jan, yeah. And you can also, if any one of the drives fails, and this is what makes these storage devices so amazing. Anything that's RAID or a RAID server, if any one of those drives fails, you don't lose any data at all, because it's keeping copies of the data from that drive on the other 3 or 4 disks that are in there. So you take out the dead one, put in a new one, and you don't lose data. So that's like, if you really, really, really want to not lose stuff, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Tony, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, you guys have a few questions in the
chat room.
Thanks for paying attention. I'm just grandstanding, so go ahead, Tony.
It's okay. No, it's cool. Jay Black 2 is asking, is there a difference in noise floor between the MicPort Pro and the MXL? And then someone else, Mike Elmore, is asking, when the light ring on the MicPort Pro goes out, will not even come on, even though the unit is getting power. Does that mean it's over?
Oh, yeah.
It may mean the LED's probably burned out.
Well, Mike PM'd me about that. I just sent him a question mark because I don't know. Is it still working? If I'm assuming that he would ask if it's not working, then the only reason he would ask is because it's not working. If it's not working, you got 2 choices. 1, you can drop it in the trash can, or 2, you can contact Centrance. And they tend to have really good customer service. And, they tend to be really, even if it's way out of warranty, which it probably is, because I think Mike bought it from me actually quite a few years ago, maybe at least 2 or 3 years ago. They may still replace it because, they want to protect their reputation in the business. They're a very, very small company. They're not sure, they're not a big corporate entity that, can lose a customer and not really feel it. They're a small company, so they tend to be really sensitive about their product, and they back it up. So I would definitely contact Michael Goodman. He's like the president or one of the chief mucky mucks over there, and let him know, because he should probably send you another one.
Contact him and they're overnighting him one.
There you go.
Is that Tony? Tony just left.
Oh, Mike's. Oh, he might have crashed. He had it happen to him earlier. No, Mike said, I did contact him and they're overnighting him one. See what I say?
Oh, yeah. Centrance is great about that.
Their support is phenomenal. And you know what? The internet has created 2 new solutions. Well, 2 new worlds in the world for manufacturers. One, they get direct contact with all the users because of the chat rooms and the forums. So they know exactly what problems people are having, even if they don't even tell the manufacturer, is 1. And 2, everybody talks about when there's a problem. So it becomes very public, So from a PR standpoint, these manufacturers have to take care of their users because they will be flamed, very, very quickly among the users if they don't. So it's really good for us as consumers. It's great. It's really great.
Yeah, I mean the MicPort's a great unit and it works super, but we've had little problems with them here and there, and they really have been excellent about making sure you have the right driver for it, or Windows especially. It's not been a problem so much with Mac.
No, but Windows you generally helps to install the driver they provide you, and tends to work the best with that.
Cool.
On Mac, it just uses core audio, so you just plug it in and it just works. I keep bouncing around. I'm like the MicPort Pro, then the Apogee 1, and then sometimes the MXL. Somebody asked about the noise floor. There is a review online where somebody does a shootout between the MXL MicMate Pro. Notice the similar name.
Yeah, really.
And then the MicPort Pro.
And Bob Heil's making one too.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
The Shure X2U, and then the Blue Icicle. And I believe, if memory served, that they liked the MicPort Pro the most. They said that was the cleanest. And I think it was a close second with the Blue Icicle. And then the
MicPort Pro can record at the highest resolution.
Right. It can do 24-bit, 96 kilohertz.
Right.
And the other ones can't. But it doesn't really matter. Like, I think we're all still pretty much recording mostly at 16-bit 48 or 44.1. Some of us might record at 24-bit just because we can.
I've got a client that requires me to submit at 24-bit.
After I went outside.
44.1.
Apparently.
Do you really, Anthony?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a little secret. Okay, everybody. If someone requires you to record at a certain bit rate and sample rate, but your equipment doesn't support it, don't worry about it, because your software can upsample, cross-sample, whatever. You can just tell the software to spit it out at 24-bit 96K, okay? They will never, ever know the difference. All they'll know is that the file you're giving them is what they wanted, and they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
They will never hear the difference.
Amen to that.
Unless they are like ABC or, it's Leslie Ann Jones at Skywalker Ranch, listening to your samples. No one's going to hear this stuff. So don't worry about it.
Sorry, that's my cat. She wants to be let out.
Okay.
You're excused.
She's Siamese.
No, she's white and fluffy.
White and fluffy.
Talky one.
Mine's pretty talky too. Sometimes he gets trapped in the back of the house where I am, and he gets pretty ticked off.
She saw my husband appear in the door, and she just went, "Hey, let me out."
Well, Judy's asking if I have a tip of the week.
Don't use Google
I
Hangouts.
This one worked pretty well.
Don't drink alcohol.
Alcohol or alcohol?
Don't drink alcohol straight.
It's alcohol. Yeah, alcohol.
Alcohol.
Right. So you're drinking alcohol or alcohol?
Yeah.
Alcohol. Well, all I know is this: since 1896, this is really old stuff.
Yeah.
Tip of the week. Well, George and I talk about this all the time. You wouldn't believe what it takes to put together those tips of the week.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure how many we've done so far. And I think it's time to put them on DVD, so you guys can have access to all of them. Of course, you have access to all of them on YouTube.
But compiling them together into one place, indexed, so you can, pull up a menu and choose which one you want to watch. And it could be a really good educational tool, and maybe we could package it and we could sell it as a little bit of a fundraiser for the show or for you personally.
Sure.
I like the second one better.
Yeah, exactly.
Pro Tools Experts is an excellent blog for Pro Tools users. It's pro-tools-expert for experts.com. They have a whole video section, and it's all sorted by topic. And, they've got hundreds of videos.
Yeah.
But it's all sorted by topic, and whenever you can drill right down and find what you're looking for. It's pretty cool.
And how much of that is about voiceover?
Is voiceover?
How much of that is about voiceover?
Oh, maybe one or two. That's just like how to set up your track.
Yeah, I have. Whenever John Florian gets around to it, we love John, but he's very, very busy. He's got too many irons in the fire. But he's got an incredible, inventory of webinars. Dan and I both have done a lot, and Betty Zoller and lots of other people. And they're all sitting there waiting for people to watch and consume. But the problem is he hasn't built a store to do it yet. But I've got 2 webinars specifically on Pro Tools. And I'm not a Pro Tools day-to-day user, but I know it well enough to teach it and to make it run well. And I just have, it talks about the workflow for using Pro Tools and make it really efficient if you want to, get the most out of using it. Because if you're going to use Pro Tools and you're only going to use it for just mono tracks and editing, you're wasting it. You're doing it wrong, whatever as they say. It's just so overkill.
It's really designed for recording.
It really is.
Sophisticated bands, with lots of different instrumentation. You can do commercial production with it if you're adding music or something underneath.
Sure.
But you can do that with Audacity, and you can do that with
GarageBand,
SoundForge. Certainly you can do it with
Twisted Wave.
Twisted Wave, not quite as easy to do with Twisted Wave, but it can be done.
Twisted Wave's still just an editor, so it's harder to mix. You can take another piece of audio and copy paste it in and tell it to layer it over top and it'll mix it. It's just not, it doesn't give you the control. You know, it's a little
Has
harder.
anybody played with that new, what is it? Is it from Presonus?
Oh, Studio One.
Yeah, anybody played with that?
Yeah,
I remember when that first came out.
Yeah.
It was like cheap Pro Tools.
Yeah, it is cheap Pro Tools. I mean, it's not totally similar. I'd say it's more similar to Logic. It's sort of like a Logic Pro Tools Audition mashup. You know, they kind of took all the best features of everything and shoved it into one program. But I played around with the free version because they have a totally free version. And my thing about audio recording software at this point is I've used so many of them now that if I get stuck because I can't do something that I think is really simple and basic, and I have to crack open a manual or do a search to figure out how to do it, that to me is a red flag. That's just me. Some people like to read the manual. They like to know everything there is to know about a software. But if it's so illogical that it makes me just go, what? I'm not a fan. And that's kind of how PreSonus Studio One was for me on a couple things. Like using effects. There was nothing logical about the way the effects worked in it, and that kind of bugged me. And it had a few other shortcomings like normalize. Just like in Logic, when you normalize, it goes to 0. It only normalizes to 0.
Oh, you can't set what that is.
Yeah, and that's a big problem. So, I mean,
you got to be able to customize your normalization. And remember, just in case you're listening, Judy, tip of the week, only normalize as your last thing. And you want it to be an adjustment of half a dB or something like that to maximize your sound out. You don't use normalization to take a little tiny waveform and make it a bigger waveform.
Well, yeah, it depends on your workflow. My workflow actually uses normalize 2 times, which sounds crazy, but I use it before and after processing. And it's worked for me and many, many, many other clients. But what it does is it calibrates the levels before it's processed so that every file has the same peak level before it gets compressed or whatever. And it seems to really help a lot of people. But the key is not ever using normalize as a way to make up a lot of gain. You know, if you have to, that's what Dan's trying to say. It's like, don't use it as a volume. Don't use it as a way to make up for the fact that your recording levels were so low on the screen, you know, or that the levels were peaking at minus 18 or something. That's the wrong thing to use it for. It's really just a minor calibration.
Right. You gotta set your levels right to start off with.
Right.
We keep harping on you guys to do that.
Yeah. I know it's hard. It's hard for me. I mean, doing the show where I'm talking live and I'm trying to get good levels in Ustream and, you know, get Dan and I the same. It's not easy. And I know that's the case. So we try to do as much set it and forget it as possible. Just fine, you know, even if it means putting some white out or some kind of a black pen on the gain control. So you have like a loud setting and a soft setting, whatever it takes. Just try to be consistent. That's the best thing I can say. Put the mic in the same place, stand in the same exact spot, and try to, you know, use consistent levels whenever possible. Consistency is key more than anything else. Sound quality is very important, but if you're at least consistent from job to job, that's what makes one reason clients will want to keep hiring you back, because they can count on what you're giving people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good question in your chat room.
Yeah.
Dan, how do you set levels when your booth is so far from your computer?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, that's a really easy one. Well, for starters, I know what my mic level is. And if
That's
I
just
can go over
experience.
to my booth, I'll show you how I do this.
Okay.
If I can actually hear what you guys are saying over there. But if I go over to my booth here, and I go over here, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
If I'm in here and I open the door, knock something else over. If I'm looking over at my screen, which is where you guys are, and I'm talking, I can see the level meter over there. If it's not right, I go over and I take the knob and I turn it one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know my level is going to be consistent, because I don't ride levels. You shouldn't really be riding levels anyway. You should be... you should be comfortable with how you're reading. You know where you're going to be standing, and then you should be fine. and I can see the level meter as I'm recording. So
okay, well, for everybody else that can't, what I might recommend is it's a lot of trial and error. You have to hit record, go to the mic, start reading, read for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, read like some soft stuff and some loud stuff.
Right.
I usually tell people to try to pick out a really loud passage, especially if you're doing book narration or anything that's nonfiction or fictional where you've got characters and stuff. You got to find that loudest passage and read it, and then walk back over to your computer, stop, play it back. Oh man, I was peeking all over the place. Okay, turn it down. It's a lot of that. And that's why it's like, once you figure out what those settings should be, lock them down somehow, mark them or something.
Yeah.
So
how many of you guys are using a second screen?
Like a pop filter?
No, I'm talking about
LCD.
An LCD monitor.
Oh, CLD. Oh no.
I use two different screens, but everything is all the processors are outside the room.
Yeah.
And so I have extensions on the monitors, Bluetooth mice, extensions on the keyboard. So everything's in here, but no processors are in the studio.
No noise.
That's what I'm saying is if you have a secondary screen, if you use a secondary screen to read your script, you can always slide, the VU meter from the program from the software into the screen, and it's right there. So you know what your level is, but you shouldn't be paying attention to that. You should be setting your level properly to start with, so it's not distracting you, so you can concentrate on your performance.
Yeah.
If you're recording at the right level and you're not too hot, you should be fine.
Once you get your level set, you have to then turn off the engineer part of your brain.
Right.
And turn on the actor part of your brain, because the two of them cannot be fully functioning simultaneously. Right. I will speak from experience, because
it's really hard.
You guys have watched the show where I was speaking for 5 minutes straight with some luminaries sitting next to me watching me. And meanwhile, speaking for 5 minutes with no audio being sent out to the stream, and it's very embarrassing, especially doing it live. But it's
What's funny was watching the line in the chat room.
Yeah.
Charge!
Because when I was speaking into the camera, when I was doing that monologue or whatever I was doing, I was fully vested in what I was saying. I could not do anything else. I wasn't looking at the meter. I was like fully vested in. And
we know.
You can't do both. Can't do both. Otherwise you'll look distracted. I've seen myself on the show where I'm like staring at the screen like like that, I'm like, oh my God.
Booth Champion in the chat room is saying he's got a VU meter in his booth that he takes a feed from the monitor out jacks on the mixer.
Holy smokes.
He's got an on-off switch, so he can do a level check and then disregard it.
That's pretty cool.
$50.
Oh, Emil, you got it together.
That the switch might be $50, but I doubt the meter is. Really?
Yeah.
American Audio DB display was $50. That's awesome.
I'm not sure.
Is that the one that shows the big arc on it?
I don't know. I'm thinking of what is the one that starts with a D? Drummer or Dawes or something. I don't know. There's
something like that. Yeah.
There's the one that I'm thinking of. It's like $800, but yeah, he said it's like $50. Yeah, that's a cool idea too. That's really unique. I haven't thought of that one.
Build an Arduino or something.
An Arduino. Yeah. So
a little level check Arduino.
Yeah, exactly.
George, didn't you have something about a remote phone app thing?
Remote phone.
So if you wanted to see your screen, I think it was a couple of episodes ago you talked about that.
Like for your smartphone?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I have. There's a program called I'll mention this one because it's cross-platform. It's Mac OS and Android, and it's called. And I can't find it right now because I have about 1,000 apps on my phone. I think it's under my business screen. Businesses. Okay, Splash Top.
Oh, Splash Top.
Splash Top.
Splash Top.
It runs on Android, runs on iPhone, and it was a little wanky. what's the word?
What are you trying to say?
It was a little hinky, wonky. It was a little honky. It was a little funky to get it set up and working the first time. I had a little trouble with it, but once I figured it out, I got it working, and yeah, I can look at my screen on my phone and from anywhere. Actually, not even just in my house, but from anywhere in the world. Not only that, I can also look at my living room camera and see what's going on in the living room.
Wow.
Let's see.
Wow. Watches his wife all the time.
There's the living room.
I'm in a studio apartment. I can see my living room from everywhere.
Exactly. You don't need it. But yeah, that's a little $50 surveillance camera I bought. My wife hates it. The fact that she let me put that up at all, I think I did it without her permission. Now she resents it.
Yeah,
But-
we were sitting at our desk at Voice 2012, and George says, "Hey, watch this." And there we see Amy sitting at her computer, and she sort of like suddenly noticed it, and she goes,
Yeah. That she did. Yeah, what's crazy about it?
That's a cool tool there, George.
What's crazy about it is you can
That's awesome.
you can sweep the screen around and you can actually pan and tilt this thing, so you can pan it around the room like that. So, $50 on Amazon,
Can
unbelievable.
you be a stalker in your own house?
Yeah, I do actually feel like a stalker in my own house sometimes. And sometimes I'll put the camera up on I have two monitors, so I'll put it up in the corner of my other monitor just to see what Ella's doing and see if someone comes to the door or UPS, whatever. So that's kind
I
of
always
nice.
wanted to spy on my dogs while I'm away.
Yeah, that's one reason people like these cameras. They spy on their dogs. In fact, they even have speakers in them.
See that dog eating your favorite shoe.
Right. And they even have a speaker in the camera, so you can actually talk to the dog. So,
Oh boy.
Or bark at it so it thinks it has company.
That would be great to put outside the door,
lovely.
so you can remotely talk to people at your door.
Well, I think I think the cake is almost finished baking here, everybody. It's an hour and 22 minutes into the official show. Maybe we should start wrapping it up. What do you all say?
Yes.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Can I go to bed now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're East Coast too.
Yeah, you guys are hardcore hanging out this late.
Hey, George and Dan, thank you very much for opening up this forum through Google Plus to be able to bring some of your viewers into it. I think it's a really fun platform to do.
Yeah, once we figure it out, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I know, like I kept saying, it's like beta because every single time we log into Google Hangouts, like once a month, it's new. There's something new and it's new features, and it's like,
what is this?
It's a moving target.
Oh, don't forget your sponsors.
And our sponsors.
Yes, of course. Harlan Hogan and VoiceOver Essentials.
Thank you, Harlan.
And thank you, Harlan. And Bob Ball over at Pop Quizzical.
Pop Quizzical.
And
Very entertaining
who else?
podcast. Well, John Florian at VoiceOver Extra. He's always talking about our show. Thank you for spreading the word. Thanks to Zurich, too, who posted episode, I think it was 60, the one with the doctor on.
Yep.
On the front page of VoiceOver Universe. Because of that posting on VoiceOver Universe, I think it's had more views than almost any other show. Immediately
Joel
within
doesn't believe that either.
within like 3 days, I think we had 500 views thanks to that. Know, so thanks to Zurich for putting it up there.
Are you going to do a show from FAFCON?
Well, I'm going to be at FAFCON, and I'm sure I will record some interviews from that or do a segment from there.
I think
I won't be back in time to actually do the show.
I think we might kind of lean towards, since we can't both be there, I think we might lean towards doing pre-taped segment type things like we kind of did at Voice 2012.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Dan can walk around with an iPhone or whatever and just catch some segments with folk. And
I'm going to do that at Uncle Roy's barbecue too.
Oh yeah, that's going to be cool.
Anyone going to Uncle Roy's barbecue?
Can't go at my 40th high school reunion.
Wow.
The same day.
Oh jeez.
I didn't get it. I've never been invited to I've never been invited to a reunion.
I'd rather go to the barbecue.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be fun. So we'll have a lot of content that we recorded at these events, and then we'll sew them together and put them up on the show.
You know, I could probably just record all this, stream this stuff directly to Ustream if I've got connectivity there.
You could, if there's good internet.
Like we've been doing that with the, if there's internet there.
Yeah.
I might be able to do that from Uncle Roy, so just broadcast it onto Ustream, and then you could just capture it and edit it from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Like you did for that poker.
You know, that's cool. I'll be able to see it when I get home.
Yeah, maybe we'll do something like that. I want you to be able to have fun, Dan.
Well, I'm only going to New York just to hang out and take video. No, I'm going to have fun.
And then the guests we have coming up include.
Collection.
I have to look at the Google Docs. Here, I'll bring up the Google Docs on the screen so everybody can see who our guests are here. Oh no, that shows some personal information. I can't do that. What am I thinking?
No, I was going to say, it's our bank accounts are on
no. Yeah, I don't want to show everybody's phone numbers and email. But anyway, we have a big old grid showing who all the guests are. Let me just bring it up in the other. It's in the other Google Documents account. Normally we have a show clock with all these things written in it, and tonight's not normal. By any stretch of the imagination. But I would like to tell you guys what's coming up.
Well, we know we have Simon Vance, and we have Dave Fenoy coming up in October. We've got
Bill Ratner.
Bill Ratner, who promises to be here.
He promises to be here.
Harlan Hogan.
I know
Harlan's
Harlan
going
will
to be on.
He'll be back. I'm not sure when, but he will be back.
And the guy from China.
Yeah, the guy from China.
Whose name escapes me.
No, he's a friend of mine. He's a photographer who turned voice actor. He's actually a book author too, but he's a photographer turned voice actor who he's an expat, as they call themselves. And he's been living in China for like a good 5 years. And he's turned into a voice actor over there. So he does American English, accented stuff in China. And his name is Bobby Brill. So I thought he might be kind of interesting to bring the perspective of an American voice actor working in another country and what that world is like.
Yeah. And George and I would love to be able to do workshops in your hometowns. I know I'd love to go see, Southern Michigan.
Dude.
And I know we're going to be doing one in Dallas and maybe your hometown.
Yeah,
George and I would love to travel to your hometown.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing that. And sorry, everybody on Ustream, I lost a picture. I don't see anybody on the main window in Google Hangout anymore. Yeah, we'd love to do that. It's really a matter of getting enough people interested to make it worth everybody's while. But we would love to do presentations and bring it on the road, kind of like
an EWABS cruise.
An EWABS cruise.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. All right, who wants to put that together? They get to go. Whoever wants to put together gets to go for free. All right.
But just a kayak off the Santa Monica Pier.
There you go. But then again, thanks for everybody that braved the Google Hangout tonight. I apologize again for you guys having to hear an echo in your phones. I know that's not easy.
What?
And
hello.
It's been fun.
But yes. I know how to use it now.
You know how to use it now. Next time we'll get another batch of other people.
Brought you into the 21st century.
It's great.
Yeah,
Anthony,
such a Luddite.
Anthony, have you been on every Hangout so far?
I think I have.
Anthony is like our unofficial other host now, because he's done so many Hangouts and
he's McMahon.
Gehrig. Exactly.
Yeah,
he's awesome. Generally we get a new mix of people each time, which is awesome. So we hope to keep doing that. And Anthony, of course, you're welcome back every time because you're very handy to have there. So thanks
Kevin,
again.
Thanks for coming.
The ladies can't find you handsome, they should at
and
least find you handy.
Exactly. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Good evening.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And together we are East West Audio Body Shop.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Nighty night, everybody.
Say good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Okay, I hit end broadcast.
You can hit end broadcast.
I did.
Okay.
It's thinking. Okay, it says broadcast has been successfully terminated.
Thinking.